right. This is the third time I'm starting a new live stream today. It kept on crashing for some reason. Please, if you're here, let me know in the live chat. Oh, people are already here. Thank you very much. I'm about to end what I'm teaching about, so just for 15 minutes more, and then I'm finished. Let me just wait just one more minute till the rest is in, then I'll continue. What I'm going to do is, after I complete over here, I'm going to put all those videos of live streams together and make them into one file so that people can watch them all at once. The devil is a liar, so I'm not going to allow this to hinder me from teaching you. Okay, just 30 seconds more. And okay, let me just see if I can tell everyone else to come to this new live stream. Okay. So for those that are here, live stream. Okay, let me just begin. I'm just going to end it here. Then I'm going to edit them together to make sure they are that they're okay. Yes. So I've explained that the cross of Burgundy was for economic motivation for the men. It was the men that relied externally for the sexual motivation. So the Spanish king came with this red flag that was quite powerful, but it had a side effect. The men turned on one another. That's why they all cried independence. Until this day, Latin America is a mess, straight up. That's why you had other countries that emerged in Latin America that began to use blue for their flags. For example, Argentina or Central America. You had various republics that used blue. The Japanese Empire, when they came up in the 19th century, they used red. It's all about motivation, sexually of the men. So imperialism and nationalism are tricks in keeping men in idolatry. Nationalism tells you the people that look like you, talk like you, and move like you, you're only a man and allowed to live if they agree that you're allowed to live. So make sure those other men are happy. Then you get a pat on the back that you're allowed to be a man. Until you get a pat on the back, you're just a boy. And as a boy, you get no voice, you get no honor, you get no privileges, you get no sexual access, you get nothing. And imperialism, they tell you, look, we have this great civilization, and you're obliged to participate in it by offering your life to us on a silver plate. If you don't do it, you're not worthy to be called a man. So do you see now that both imperialism and nationalism, they appear opposed to one another, but they're not. It's both a trick to sexually motivate worldly men into allowing themselves to be exploited and drained. Do you understand this? Let me know it in the live chat, please. Yes, both are narcissistic. But here's the thing. Nationalism has one big side effect, and that is that it will bring forth collective depression eventually, because everything is so local. Everything is so static. And we're not designed to operate in a static state of being. So nationalism makes men depressed very quickly. Imperialism, there's less pressure on the local. So because there's less pressure on the local, you don't realize that you're being exploited. For example, let's say you have an Hungarian man today, and he is loyal to his country. Magyar is called in Hungarian, I believe. And he wants to be a man, so he talks as everyone wants him to talk. He behaves as everyone wants him to behave. Why? Because the women of that Hungarian society, they are told by the community that they're only being valued and loved if they open their legs to the men they approve of. That's the thing with females and sexuality. Females, the sexuality of women is, I won't say fluid because that's a pagan term, but it's more like clay. You can mold it. And because women are designed to get psychic income from their communities, the community shapes their sexual attitudes. If the females are managed badly, they turn into hoes and sodomites and all of that. If they're managed well, they turn out ladies, wives, and honorable women. That's the fact. So the women, in this example I'm giving you, will only want to open their legs to a man who reflects the values that the leaders of that community want. So as a man in that community, let's say Hungary, you give in to whatever they want, so that you can be validated by the community as a man. And this is idolatry because you are a man. God designed you as a man, so you don't need the validation of that community to be a man. But the fallen mind is like this. Unless it gets a pat on the back, it feels like it doesn't exist. And that's the issue of men without Christ. They crave this pat on the back by society. So if you're an Hungarian, you do that. And because Hungary now has no ports near the sea, that means that economically speaking, a few tyrants in the economy manage all the resources. And for you to be able to feed your family, you need to bend over to the violence of those sodomite men who manage the resource in that area. And by tolerating this exploitation by those other men, which is sodomy, now you are a man. You're not a boy anymore. You are a man. You're allowed to open your mouth. You're allowed to speak. That's nationalism. If you, let's go back in time. Let's say you were a Japanese boy and you had the Japanese Empire going on. You were told, we are the great Japanese Empire. We're here to lead Asia. And you think, you know what? I want to participate in this leading of Asia. And you're told, okay, you want to participate? This is what you can do. Join the military. You join the military. You're mentally broken down. You're exhausted. And then you're sent to fight a battle where you likely will die. But because you have this pat on the back, while you're on your way dying on the battlefield, you feel accepted. Even though you're dying and the ones that sent you to die are drinking tea, sodomizing little boys, and doing other satanic crap, and you're the one dying over there. And your mom, your dad, your relatives are mourning because you've passed away. But hey, the community is relieved now. So you contribute to the relief of the community. So nationalism and imperialism are straight abominations. They are abominations. A lot of people speak out against imperialism, but nationalism is just as abominable. Because the lie behind nationalism and imperialism is that you, as a man, need to be sexually motivated by society. And here's the big deal of it. It is a hoax. It's a scam. But because the fallen mind is so reliant on a pat on the back, they believe it. And this effect on the women, because I've spoken about the men now, because the sex magic of nationalism and imperialism is focused on men. But it also affects the women. This is how it affects the women. And female believers, listen to what I'm saying here. You're a woman, so you are designed to crave in the embracement of the human community, because the whole human species ought to be one community with diversity of languages and skin colors to glorify Christ. That's what we ought to be. But this diversity, we can't handle it as human species right now because we're in a fallen state. We tend to fight one another over the diversity that God brought in us. But okay, that's the world. This is how you as a woman, this embraced by the community is natural. There's nothing bad about it. That's how God designed you. But look at this, ladies. Those sodomites that govern the world, they hate you. Why? Because the father figure, Satan, hates you. Because Satan, in the very beginning, he realized that in God's design, the woman will get a whole dimension that she can be playful with, assisted by her husband, Adam, later by us. And Satan realized, okay, so you have these pieces of beings where you have a weaker part in it called the females, and they almost get things for free. And they become so important. And Satan thought, I should decide who becomes important here. I've been the viceroy of the heavens for eons before the earth realm came. So this weak being, Adam here, needs to bend over to me. And that creepy being that God has made, called the female, that's so emotionally dependent, she shouldn't have anything to say at all because, hey, she's not like me. So who is she that she gets most recognition? I should get the recognition. So Satan lost his mind when he realized the potential of femininity. That's why Satan is against heterosexuality. He's against natural sex because he really can't stand femininity. It offends him that something so soft and so vulnerable can be so powerful. So Satan hates all women, especially black women because of Eve. But Satan hates all females unconditionally. Whether it's a little baby who was just born, or an elderly woman who's in her 80s, or it's the feminist that's sleeping around, or whether it's the LGBT whore that's going to gay bars all the time, or it's the modest woman who goes to church. Satan hates all women. Creep is how Satan sees you females. Well, and those that worship Satan share the same anger towards females. Satan blames the woman for his doom, even though Satan was messed up long before that. And he's the one that persisted in error. But Satan blames the woman. The fallen angels blame females. The Nephilim just get along. And those sellouts, those satanic bootlicks amongst our species, you have them in all skin colors, in all languages, those bootlicks, those pathetic, self-hating men that adhere to Satan in exchange for power over the rest of their species. They hate females also. So those bootlicks, as I'm going to call them, those coons, they will give you values as a woman to adhere to. Because little girls, they want values to hold, to identify with. So the satanic filth that governs this world will give you women some values. But those values are inconsistent. And here's the thing. Because little boys have this deep urge to be involved with girls, the boys now think this is what the girls want, so I need to reflect what they want. But here's the thing. If what the girls want is self-destructive and the men submit to what the girls want, then the men become self-destructive. And if the boys turn into go into adulthood and they begin to sleep with the women and produce families, then you will have sexual toxicity, and this will traumatize the children. And that's how you have a generational curse. That is why the Most High, wants all men everywhere to submit unto him directly. God does not want any man anywhere to seek sexual motivation outside of them. No, that's idolatry. God, the Most High, Yahweh, he's the head of human sexuality, and he is the one that validates our manhood as men. And same for you, ladies. He validates your womanhood, which he designed. Because if you do not submit to his recognition, you will seek the recognition of something else or someone else. And this seeking of the recognition of something or someone else, it will keep you in an addiction. And this grants demons, as well as those human bootlicks, a grip upon you. And the way they can get away with it is by keeping you ignorant of what they're doing. That's why I'm making these live streams for you. And this live stream of today has been interrupted twice by suddenly first there was the internet acting weird. Then there was thunder outside, out of the blue, even though it was good weather in the morning. But I'm continuing for you. When it comes to nationalism, imperialism, and flags, they didn't tell you in school it's all about external sexual motivation of men. They never told you that. Because if they would have told you that in school, you would realize, oh, so we are in a fallen state where the males of the species who ought to lead the species are not in the right mind because we crave sexual motivation outside of us. Oh, Lord, we need help. You would have realized that from an early age if they would have told you why they use national flags. But because they don't tell you that, because they give you some BS story, some nonsense story about how your forefathers fought for their freedom, and that's why that flag symbolizes your freedom. They come with some BS story to hide what they're doing. And I'm demystifying their doing. That's why in some countries, you have the flag of the country everywhere. If you come in a country and you see the national flag of the country almost everywhere, then you know that the masculinity of the men in that country is going downwards. Sherry Flowers, what you said about that country that you typed about is true. I can see it all around me. It's true. So that is why we as believers, we ought to be aware how this world really works, so that we're not tricked into participating in their abominations. Look, men ought to be active in their communities. They ought not to be drained from 9 to 5 in some office to get some compensation to remain alive. Nor should they be on some battlefields being killed by other hirelings just so that people can sing a national anthem. Both are wrong. Both are abominations. But because we do not realize what we are, what our needs are as a species, those that do know take advantage of it. I'm full black. I'm from the Caribbean. Someone asks, are you half black? No, I'm full black. Both my parents are black, and also for several generations before me. So look, sexual motivation ought to be intrinsic into us. That's natural. Though to the fallen mind, we seek for it external. Women seeking external by looking at which idol the community gives to them to worship, and the men seeking external by bending over to the idols just so that they are validated as an important human being. So, what's the way out of this? I just gave you the way out of it. I've exposed to you what's going on. As long as you don't realize what's going on, whatever's going on has a grip on you. But the moment you're aware of what's going on, it loses its power over you. So the only way to get rid of sex magic affecting you is by seeing it for what it is. It's exploitation of your vulnerabilities as a fallen being. Because a believer that's renewed in their mind, no sex magic can work on such an individual. A believer renewed in his mind, or a believer renewed in her mind, no sex magic can work on them. Ever. But someone that's in a fallen state yet, or a believer that's not renewed yet in their mind, sex magic can work on them easily. Because most of us have been trained into the abomination, sexual abomination already. And this is what I want to say in this live stream before I end. What society does is society trains you to lust after an abomination. Natural sexual lust is healthy, but they want you to give that lust to an abomination. They don't want you to let God govern your sexual lusts, which what should happen. He's Lord, he's the head of it. So he can regulate it perfectly without any side effects on your part. But because we don't trust God as our sex master, we look for other masters to run us sexually. Oh dear. Some people get upset because I've said it, but this is what's going on. Because we don't trust God as our sex master, we look for other masters to run us sexually. And that is what many teenage girls are doing when they fall for that Barbie figure, or they fall for those fashion figures that are presented to them. You have sodomite men who are fashion designers. They're sodomites. Some of them are even pedophiles, but there's another video. And they dictate how a girl should look like physically. But the image they're giving those girls is of a prepubescent boy. Prepubescent boys have very thin, slender bodies. That's not how a grown woman should be. But they provide this abomination to girls. A woman should never be shaped like a prepubescent boy. But they give you this abomination over and over again. And because many women are looking up to the community to acknowledge them as valuable, they now embrace the community rather than sexually. So the community tells you what type of man is attractive and what type of man you should open your legs for and what type of man is worth it. And a lot of women get along with it. Yahweh is your sex master. Not those creeps in the world. But you're told that you as sexual beings, you're filthy. Who told you that? The world. And the same world that tells you that as a sexual being, you're filthy because you're sexual, also tells you this is how you get sexual liberation. Abominable. And then you have men giving categories. And this is what often happens to men. It doesn't matter which skin color, it happens all over the place. And I'm a man myself, so I'm being straight up here. We men, we crave. This is something we often do, but we're not aware of it. We crave for Jezebel as our partner. Yes, a lot of men crave for Jezebel as their partner because the type of woman they're looking for, the right woman, is not even a female. They're striving after an image, think that if they have that image, that they will be whole. And they won't be. And that's what you see also on Instagram and on all social media. Look, there's nothing wrong with liking a picture of someone that you consider attractive. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. But a lot of men, they crave a particular image. And that image is an abomination. All of us have been programmed to worship abominations. All of us. Church teach you abominations as well as Hollywood does. There's nobody who's been trained to be healthy in this area by the world, ever. So that is why you ought to look at the bigger picture and you ought to use your intuition, is what I'm telling you. So this whole political thing that's going on, nationalism, where it's left wing, right wing, is to sexually motivate the men and allow themselves to be abused, and the women get along with it. So keep on agreeing with Christ. I'll keep making more videos about this. Be at peace. Hold on.